Hi there, higher running coach and Hogue athlete Sage Canaday here with another training talk. Today we're going to talk about why you might be doing your zone 2 training not the right way exactly and might not be getting the best benefits or bang for your buck with zone 2 training. Let's get started. So of course, this is not a new concept. Influencers have been talking about this more lately in the last several years, but Zone 2, easy aerobic based training, conversational paced running, low heart rate training has been around for decades and decades and decades. Arthur Lydiard with periodized training back in the 60s, Bowerman, hard easy approach. Like, it's not a new concept. People repackage it. And I posed the question on Instagram threads. Yes, I'm on the IG at Sage Canaday. Instagram threads though, which I don't always like, but there was a lot of misconceptions I think about it, and I didn't realize it when I posed the question about how some influencers who just started running yesterday, or some Gen Z kid that just started running yesterday, acts like they discovered this new thing with Zone 2 training, and what kind of bad information people might be providing about it. But the feedback I got, which was interesting, was that a lot of people said, oh, I tried Zone 2 training, it didn't work. And I'm saying, well, maybe that people aren't doing it effectively or in the correct level. I think a lot of people actually go at too low of an intensity. Maybe not beginner runners, but people that have gotten into going off of what maybe their Garmin ranges say or a certain smartwatch range suggests, which may or may not be correct for you, and then going off of bad heart rate data. And I've done a lot of training talks on this over the years about how if you don't know your true 100% max heart rate, and I believe most people don't actually, then you're working at a percentage from there. Say zone 2 is between 65 to 75% of what your theoretical max heart rate number. Realize max heart rate is a moving target. Those percentages could all be off if you don't have that real value. And some people are like, well, calculate your lactate threshold or tempo threshold pace. Well, same sort of thing. Moth method, 180 minus your age, 220 minus your age for max heart rate. Not going to be accurate. They're just based on these arbitrary numbers. There's too much individual variation with heart rate, max heart rate, because it changes with genetics. It changes as you age. It usually goes down with age, but not always in a linear fashion. So a lot of people don't know 100% max heart rate. How are you going to know what 65 or 75% of your max heart rate is? Now, gold standard is the talk test. Can you carry on a conversation and not be huffing and puffing when you're running? You're probably in zone 2. Carry on an easy conversation. Now, if it gets so easy that you're walking, now don't get me wrong, beginners have to walk. If you're getting back into shape, you might have to walk. If you're at altitude, going up hills, you have to walk to keep your heart rate in check, especially if you want to keep things easy. But I think a lot of people get misread because maybe their wrist heart rate monitor is not reading the correct number. Maybe it's locking on your cadence. Maybe it's way too it's usually way too conservative probably. So you don't need to be running these super slow paces and be like, I'm in zone 2. It's super chill and easy. Yes, it should be easy. Yes, you don't want to strain. But the benefits of being in zone 2 with fat burning, stimulating mitochondria growth and density, aerobic adaptations, building capillary beds, blood flow, but mainly just recovering between the harder workouts and being able to build up your volume or your weekly mileage more consistently while reducing the injury risk is the real key why zone 2 works. And if you get more experience, if you start racing marathons or half marathons and you get your PRs down and they're getting pretty fast, even a 5K PR, 10K PR, half marathon, marathon type of PR, you could extrapolate off of that pace, especially if you're on the faster side. Let's say you're under 4 hours, 3 hours, something in the marathon, or even faster. There's a good chance your zone 2 is probably at least 90 seconds per mile, if not 2 minutes per mile, slower than your marathon race pace. What is that, like 45 seconds to a minute per kilometer slower than your marathon race pace? Now, if you run a marathon in 5 hours, maybe that is closer to your zone 2 pace. You're actually doing the marathon because it's a 5-hour event for you. That kind of heart rate range, you can only hold so high of a heart rate for 5 hours. So maybe your zone 2 is around your marathon pace. Now, The other misconception, another mistake, besides going off arbitrary formulas for heart rate or thinking your watch is in a certain pace range, and for trail runners, ultra runners, people running uphill or in bad weather conditions, pace goes out the window. So then you have to listen to your breathing, especially if you have bad heart rate data. But the other thing was zone 2, and I think the reason why it didn't work is people were like, I only did zone 2 training for a year, and that's not how it works. You still need to do some speed work. You have to do strides. If you don't know what strides are, check out some of my videos on strides. But even tempo runs, VO2 max intervals, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 intensity work needs to be sprinkled in eventually. When you first start out, yeah, all your miles should be easy, relax. You build the mileage up, the weekly volume up, and if you're not running more than 20 miles a week, 32K a week, it's hard to notice any marginal benefit from just running easy all the time. Then you're going to have to sprinkle in more intensity or cross training or strength work to get a fitness boost, because the real magic of zone 2 is that you could run higher mileage more consistently. So we see a lot of benefits when people get up to 80K per week, 50 miles per week. I realize if you're strapped on time and you're losing sleep and you got the kids to take care of and a real full-time job, it might be hard to balance, but 40 miles a week, what is that, like 60, 70K per week? The consistency is what matters, and consistency means you can't get hurt. So if you're forcing a pace on what should be an easy day, if you're going into zone 3 instead of staying into zone 2, it's great for your aerobic system. The heart and lungs could take a beating, but the skeletal muscular force of the higher impact or straining on tired muscles and starting to compromise your running form, running technique, could cause an overuse type of injury or a stress fracture, something like that. And it's stressful mentally to think I have to push hard every day and be in pain every day and I'm tired and I don't want to do this. Whereas you dial things back, zone 2, you go out, give yourself 10 minutes to warm up, make it a choice that you're staying relaxed, but you're still running with good form. You're still doing things like strides, maybe after an easy zone 2 run. You're still doing some element of a speed work, be it short hill repeats, 30-second, 1-minute hill repeats, 200 meters, 400-meter repeats on the track, working up to 20-minute tempo run, zone 4. And the other basis, and this is the final misconception I'll close out the talk with, is a lot of people, they might get thrown off by some app or some Garmin estimate or whatever, race predictor estimate, threshold estimate, that they might not even be following a 5-zone model. So when I say zone 2, I'm talking about a 5-zone model. I've done talks on this, why I like 5 zones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It corresponds to 5 different pace ranges as well, but we're looking at relative intensity, of course. But it does mirror, your 5K, 10K pace, your half marathon pace. What is, lactate threshold, right? So I like that. Some people go off a 3-zone model. I think that's too simplistic. It doesn't give you very much concrete definitions between different energy systems. And it's not like these things exist in a vacuum. If you're doing higher mileage at zone 2, you're increasing your VO2 max often. You don't have to do zone 5 VO2 max interval training, and it's not just targeting VO2 max. It's always working on something else, running economy, changing your lactate threshold, how you deal with lactate as a fuel, but also in terms of buffering any sort of acidity. So these things all kind of blend together in the aerobic system, and they're all going to help you benefit as a distance runner, whether your event's 5K or a marathon or ultra marathon, or even the 1500 or miles. So that's my talk on that. Zone 2 training. Just worry about conversational pace, keeping things relaxed, being able to talk and run with good form, but realize the real magic in it is still having to mix in intensity and speed work periodically in your yearly or monthly or weekly cycle, depending on what you're training for and when, but also that you're building that mileage base up. And so you have to be consistently running maybe increasingly higher mileage and more times per week or more runs per week for longer distances, including long runs, to get the full benefits of the zone 2. So that's kind of the magic of how it works. Thanks again for tuning in, subscribing, liking these videos. It helps me out a lot. Thanks to title sponsor Hoka, keeping the dream alive. Check out our training plans at higherrunning.com. We sell training plans. Coach Sandy, Nypaver, and I at higherrunning.com. Any surface, any distance, you name it, we've experienced a lot. So we have plans for these different events, and it really helps us out a lot on their higher running course, as well as we got some ebooks and the YouTube channel. But thanks for all the Patreon supporters for keeping this YouTube channel alive. Hope you're doing well, and stay tuned for more via 2Max Productions.